after a tremendous fatal 5-way, Brock Lesnar puts the F5 on Big E, pins the champion, which he didn't even have to do. 1, 2, 3, and Brock Lesnar is your WWE champion. Now, was I surprised? No. Was I guess, shocked? You could say, yeah. I mean, I was jarred. It's a jarring thing, but I thought that was the move to make. And I thought that's the move that they would make. And I thought that because, first of all, just the idea of of Brock Lesnar leaving the WWE champion. I thought that was basically a guarantee. And some people said, well, clearly that means he was going to beat Roman Reigns for the Universal title, and so instead they're making him WWE champion. I don't think it means that at all, because the dynamic has completely changed. There is no equivalency. Brock Lesnar being the WWE champion is not equivalent to Brock Lesnar being the Universal champion. The whole point of Brock Lesnar winning the Universal title, if he was going to do that, would have been so that Roman has to get it back from him. The idea that Roman is the Universal champion now, still, and Brock Lesnar is the WWE champion, you've now got to think of more reasons for them to fight again, not less reasons, because why would Brock want the Universal Championship, and why would Roman want to defend it against him? He's already got a title. He could be busy on this other show. Meanwhile, there's all these other people that want a piece of Brock now. Because while normally it wouldn't be in one's best interest to step into the ring with the Beast, now he's the WWE champion. Who doesn't want to be the WWE champion? Everybody on Monday Night Raw, on some level, should theoretically want to match with the Beast, right? So I actually think that this doesn't at all lead you to believe that he was going to win the Universal title. It doesn't mean that he wasn't going to win the Universal title. It just, this decision, I don't think has any bearing on whether Brock Lesnar was going to beat Roman Reigns or not. I think that we can all be left guessing. I think Brock Lesnar winning this match does not... Oh, geez. I think Brock Lesnar winning this match does not tell us who was going to win between Brock and Roman or who was going to win the Fatal 4-Way. It certainly doesn't tell us that. I think what happened when Roman was confirmed as not being on the show was all of the plans went out the window completely, and it's time to start from scratch. Backs are up against the wall. How do the people go home happy? Because that's key here, right? That's a key move. The reason that Brock Lesnar, to me, won the WWE Championship is, my working theory is that the WWE does not mind disappointing fans when they're doing it themselves. WWE does not mind writing a story that is going to disappoint a fan. WWE does not mind a result that disappoints fans, a heel winning, a heroic moment not happening, because it's part of storytelling, because probably in their minds, eventually there will be some kind of comeuppance. But for instance, like Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker for the streak. The WWE wasn't worried about disappointing fans there because it was for the greater good and because they were the ones in control of it. What the WWE won't have, and history would tell us that they won't have it, is Mother Nature disappointing fans on their behalf. The WWE does not like disappointing fans when it's out of their control. And so when something happens that is out of their control, you generally find that the WWE tries to overdo it, to give you something even better. I mean, you can go back just in recent history. You don't have to go back that far. You can look at a week ago, the Madison Square Garden house show, when most of the main event wasn't going to be there. Seth Rollins wasn't going to be there. Becky Lynch wasn't going to be there. I think Bobby Lashley was supposed to be there. He wasn't there. So instead of just saying, hey, man, we're going to present the show without these athletes. Sorry, we're in the middle of a pandemic. These things happen. They brought Edge in, unadvertised, and they headlined the show with Kevin Owens versus Edge in a steel cage. That way people hopefully didn't leave saying, oh, man, I came to see that guy. They left saying, oh, my God, I did not expect Edge to be here. And I certainly didn't expect to see Edge versus Kevin Owens in a steel cage. We've never even seen Edge versus Kevin Owens on television before. What a value. What a deal. When you look at when the plane was stuck or delayed, whatever it was, in Saudi Arabia after that pay-per-view, and most of the SmackDown roster was on it. And they said, what are we going to do? And they did the NXT Invasion of SmackDown. They had a handful of talent from SmackDown that weren't at the pay-per-view or had taken the first jet back. But for the most part, they were short-staffed, so they brought an NXT Invasion over. And people remember that SmackDown forever. It's one of the favorite SmackDowns that people had. It's the first time Pat McAfee was on color commentary. But that's a show that was planned day of because the WWE's back was against the wall. Edge and Kevin Owens was planned day of. The WWE's back was against the wall. Maybe not day of, but within days of the show for sure. How about when Survivor Series in 2017, when they'd been building and building and building to the Shield reunion, and Roman was out sick. So what do? Kurt Angle is returning to wrestling. They had this thing in their back pocket where sometime Kurt Angle is going to be able to return to the ring for the first time. You know what? We were going to do it at WrestleMania. We'll give it to you now. Sorry, Roman's not here. They said, what about, it's supposed to be Finn Balor versus, as the Demon versus Sister Abigail Bray Wyatt, which people were already a little like, I don't know if I need Bray Wyatt to be Sister Abigail, but Bray Wyatt got sick. So what happened? They said, how about this? Not only we still give you the Demon, but we'll just give you a dream match. The Demon versus AJ Styles. It's like you deliver even more. So I think that the idea here was that WWE did not want fans to leave this show. They said, though, the advertising for day one was that this is going to set the pace for WWE going into 2022, that all these competitors are fighting specifically hard because they know that what happens at day one sets the pace for their year in the WWE. Look at the card that was laid out. Clearly, they're trying to make this a big event. Clearly, they want this to be like, okay, day one is one of the big shows. You're going to have big matches on that pay-per-view or special live event, whatever they call them now. And so the last thing that they wanted was for the first day one show to leave a taste in people's mouths where, even if it was a good show, even if the matches were good, where they went, yeah, but imagine what that main event would have been like. It was good, but I would have loved to see Brock versus Roman. They didn't want fans in attendance that was sold out leaving saying that, and they didn't want fans watching on Peacock saying that. They didn't want, and next year when day one comes around, they didn't want it to be that sort of snake bit show. Instead, let's do something that will make the world talk. First of all, anytime you put, and this has been my Brock Lesnar thing from the beginning, technically starting with SummerSlam, by the way, SummerSlam 2002, when Brock beat Rock, that was when it was like, okay, really it was 2002, when it was any match that Brock Lesnar is in, there's a good chance that he's going to win. There's a better than 50% chance that any match that Brock Lesnar is in, whether it be a singles match, a Royal Rumble match, whatever it is, there's a better than 50% chance that he's going to win. And they reminded people of that when he beat the Streak. So already going into the Fatal 5-Way, there's a better than 50% chance. You don't have to do Steiner math to figure it out, that Brock Lesnar is going to win that match. Now, add that to the fact that we don't want people to leave going, okay, so that's what happened. I wonder what would have happened with Roman and Brock. Roman and Brock would have been cool. Because what you could have done is put Brock in the match, have the same beginning, but when you took Brock out, you could have Brock be taken out. You could have Owens and Rollins handcuff him to something. You could have Lashley and Brock just kind of take each other out and just continue the match as you would have. And that's fine. But if you do that, number one, Brock's got a problem with whoever took him out of the match, so you've still created this storyline that you're going to have to pay off. And number two, people know. If you add Brock into the match, and then no matter how creative it is, you figure out a way to take him out, well, you end up with this thing that's like, oh, I see what they did there. Oh, like Brock was just, it's like throwing a billboard up there. Like, we're still giving you a taste of Brock, but that's it. It was really inconsequential. As opposed to, no. It had a major consequence. Brock Lesnar won the title. Now, why did Brock have to pin Big E? Because, by the way, I got on with the upper couple tier Patreon members, the shills at patreon.com/Notsam Wrestling. And we talked about day one, right before the pay-per-view, specifically how it had changed. And I said that it's definitely going to be Brock winning the title. And then I said, and I would not be surprised if Brock pins Big E. And boom, there he was pinning Big E. Now, why does he pin Big E? Because, number one, going forward, I don't think that you're creating a Brock Lesnar-Big E rivalry. You've got an unfinished Roman Reigns-Brock Lesnar rivalry. You've now put some, magical fairy dust on Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. People have a taste for it now. People want to see that paid off. There's no way to do this match without it leading to people wanting a Bobby Lashley-Brock Lesnar match even more. Once Brock Lesnar's in that fatal five-way, if you've got a quarter of a brain, you know that people are going to leave going, I can't wait to see Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar one-on-one. No getting around it. So even if you do everything else right, if Brock, even if he wins the title, if he doesn't pin Big E, well, then Big E's got a reason to complain, which means that Big E's got a problem with Brock Lesnar, which means now you've got to pay off Brock and Roman, Brock and Bobby, and Brock and Big E. So what do you do instead? Look, Brock has a history of it. The New Day is on this planet to give us hope. The New Day is on this planet to show us what it looks like when we get everything we've ever dreamed of. And Brock Lesnar is that crushing reality. Kofi Kingston gave us all inspiration. Brock Lesnar destroyed it. Big E brought that inspiration back. He was a great champion, out there doing interviews, out there talking about what a big deal it was, representing the company. What did Brock Lesnar do? He crushed those dreams again. He's 2 for 3 on the New Day. I wouldn't be surprised if Brock Lesnar just comes for Xavier Woods' King of the Ring crown just because. Don't forget, Brock was the King of the Ring. Brock is a King of the Ring holder. Maybe he's offended that Xavier is running around calling himself the king. Nobody ever beat Brock for that crown. Brock comes and takes it from Xavier. It fits the pattern is all I'm saying. It is Brock's MO. That whatever the New Day has, Brock is here to take it. So yeah, am I happy that Big E is not the champion anymore? Absolutely not. I wanted Big E to hold that title at least until WrestleMania, if not past. I wanted Big E to be able to walk in to Dallas to 100,000 people and walk in as champion. And by the way, that still could happen. There's still 3 months of wrestling and 2 pay-per-views to go until WrestleMania. So there's no way. I said day one is going to be the new start of the road to WrestleMania as opposed to the Royal Rumble, and that's true. It 100% is. But it's the start. We can't even see WrestleMania from where we're at. We got quite a road trip ahead of us. So the idea that Big E won't be champion again before WrestleMania, it's not impossible. I wouldn't put my money on it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's not impossible.